Hello and welcome to another episode of the Leo Alves podcast. And in today's podcast episode, we have a guest on, Adam Pecoraro. I won't say too much. I'll let him introduce himself, what he does, who he is, where he's from, and then we'll just go from there. And it's an episode I'm excited for.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. I've been a fitness coach for the past 5 or so years, maybe coming up on six actually. I was an in-person personal trainer until COVID, and then I was forced to go online like everyone else. So that was where I got started in content creation, and I had never made a video or even heard my voice on video. I just would always cringe every time I would hear a recording of like a message I would send or I would leave someone on their phone. I just hated the sound of my voice, but I just forced myself because I kind of had to. And I posted one video on TikTok, and it was in the worst lighting, no mic, my glasses on at like 11 p.m. And I was just, just making I was just saying like random nutrition facts, and then I had 6,000 followers the next day. So that was where I got started on social media. I guess that was the good times where you could just post a video and people actually saw it. But yeah, I've been on online coach since then. I work with brands also. I've done some paid media for some fitness and nutrition brands. Um, Managed other creators with their brand deals, and then I had a couple businesses during COVID and like a little bit after COVID where we had it was called the Fit Talkers, and we had uh, online conferences like fitness and nutrition conferences. We had dietitians and MDs and other fitness coaches giving talks, and we even had a membership site. So done a lot of things and been in the industry for quite a while. I have a degree in exercise science and nutrition from the University of New Mexico, where I'm originally from, and I've been based in Montreal since 2015 when I came to do my master's at Concordia. So still in Montreal.
Okay, so you're American and moved to Canada.
And now I'm almost a citizen, so I almost have dual citizenship. Citizenship.
Okay. How are you finding life in Canada?
I like it. It's completely different from when I got here in 2015, but I still like it. There's a lot going on here, a lot of events and just opportunities, so I like it.
And you're in Montreal?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How's your French?
I started when I was young, so I lived in France too, so I'm bilingual.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Because I've been to Montreal a bunch of times. I used to live in near the border in Vermont for a year. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I went to Montreal a bunch of times. That was fun. It's a great city, and um I yeah, I made friends at the university that you were studying at. So yeah, small world.
Yeah,
Um
the English university.
oh really? I didn't know that part. I actually didn't know that part.
There's two. There's McGill and there's Concordia. I got into McGill also for physiology, but it's a little more prestigious than Concordia, and I didn't want to do a qualifying year and waste a year doing prereqs, so I chose Concordia.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, small world. I really do like Montreal a lot. I don't know when I'll be going, but I was even thinking about moving there at one point. But the only thing that puts me off, and it is quite a big thing, is like how extremely cold it gets. Um,
Just leave. That's what a lot of people do. They just like once it starts in January, February, they just leave for a couple months, then come back.
yeah, but yeah, we'll see. I'm sure I do. I would love to visit again. I think I think I'm going to Toronto maybe at the end of this year, potentially just for a week or so, just to visit a friend there. But yeah, I do miss Canada. Canada was fun. Um,
Yeah, come visit.
yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, not to get too off tangent, but I thought we can definitely get stuck into the rest of the episode. Wherever it takes us, it takes us. But um, well, we've been following each other for a while now. I think I don't know, maybe a good few months at least, maybe probably around a year. And one thing I would say I've realized about you and your content is it's like very like just no bullshit style. Um, which works well. Like some people love that. And I was gonna say like with all the responsive video responses that you've made, and often of which I find myself agreeing with as well, is that what do you think is like the biggest lie or myth or something I guess the fitness industry is often peddling nowadays, and that you find that you just have to like constantly be like, no, this is not the case.
Oh, I don't even know if I choose. There's just so many that, it's not fun or just it's not cool to talk about the basics. And whenever I do, I get a few views on the video and nobody really cares. No, maybe no comments at all. Because there's nothing to say. Like it's just boring. So anything that's like definitively the answer, like it's your insulin. Well, the insulin is what really, if I had to pick one, it's the insulin and sensitivity thing. But like it has to be carnivore, it has to be I don't know. I saw the fruit only diet. There's really any kind of like just getting rid of whole macronutrients and whole like specific types of food is what really kills me. Like I always have to say something about that. But carnivore is a big one. Anytime I talk about carnivore, there's hundreds of comments asking why do we even need fiber? We can't even digest it. That's the whole point. But yeah, there's so many I couldn't even begin to name just a couple.
Yeah, carnivore is like it's so huge nowadays. Like when I Threads is probably the platform I'm using most consistently right now, and I don't know about you, but whenever I find I just make a post about carnivore, much more often than not, I'm gonna get someone just being a huge advocate for it, commenting on it, sometimes several people. Um, I've been called an idiot for suggesting people should eat fruits and vegetables. So yeah, I can 100% see where you're coming from with that.
I think it's because they follow a couple influencers or a couple like, disgraced MDs who preach about carnivore and then they don't actually know how to intelligently add to the conversation or just have any ideas of their own. So they just parrot what that person says, which, right away you know that they don't know what they're talking about because when you say something, then they'll just, like you just said, call you stupid or call you just say that you have no idea, you're clueless, you have no idea. Somebody the other day called me. They were like, why is it the vegetable people who are like pro vegetable? I don't know how he worded it, something stupid, but he said, I don't know why these people are always so loud and arrogant and wrong. But the irony of that is that those people are all of those things.
I agree. And why do you think do you think that's why it's getting so big? Because I guess, so like you said, a few, I guess, popular, you could call them influencers, just got really big who were into the carnivore. I was gonna say diet. I think cult is a better word to describe it. Do you think it's just maybe because they've just gotten so big, or is there something else to it?
I think anything that's outlandish or just sounds crazy will always be more popular than people who are just saying eat a generally balanced diet with high protein and workout. Um, there was specifically one guy, I don't remember the specific diet that he was doing. I'm pretty sure it was something like fruitarian, like just fruit, but he's lying. It's just simply not true because he has a good physique and he has muscle. And he's saying I'm pretty sure that one of his videos was saying that you don't need protein. He doesn't eat protein at all, and he just eats fruit. And he looks like that because your body naturally produces protein. I don't remember what it was, something ridiculous, but you look at his physique and you're like, that's just simply not true. So I
Yeah.
think they know their market. Like certain people in the media who I won't name, they know their market, the dumb people. So they just pander to them, and that's how they gain their notoriety.
Bit like the Liver King as well. And like
Yeah,
everyone just thought it was like the meat and the organs he was eating. Turns out he's just like taking a fuck ton of steroids as well.
exactly. And I don't know if you've seen him recently, but he looks like a homeless meth addict, which he may well be. I don't know. That's that. I think he was in the news for something about Joe Rogan. He was threatening Joe Rogan, and he got arrested.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been I was looking at because I didn't even realize what was happening, and then someone gave me a heads up, and I was like, oh shit, and yeah, he got arrested because I think, just like saying things at Joe Rogan and telling him, Joe Rogan saying he wants to fight him was one thing, but then he actually went to Joe Rogan's city. He drove all the way to his city, it's like a whole other place, and then went looking for him, as he said on video. And then I think that's where people were like, okay, this is going too far, and that's why I think he got arrested. Yeah, so yeah, bizarre.
Yeah.
And do you know what? This actually brings up something else that comes to mind, and I don't know what you have to say about this, but with him being like that, like and I've been seeing a few people actually because recently, at the time of recording this podcast episode, Ozzy Osbourne passed away, Hulk Hogan passed away, like in the space I think of like 3 days, both of them. And I did see one thread like 2 or 3 hours ago, which is very similar to what we were just discussing right now, um, where someone was like, I find it quite bizarre that Ollie Osbourne lived longer than Hulk Hogan, where one took a lot of drugs and the other one, being Hulk Hogan, lived a very active and fit and healthy lifestyle. And that was just like almost made me, and I'd be curious to hear what you say about this as well, is like most people outside the fitness industry genuinely have no fucking idea how many people, like how many celebrities and how much drugs they're actually taking as well. Like to think Hulk Hogan, like, okay, he wasn't like the epitome of like a fit and healthy person. Like I think WWE is like rampant with steroid use. So and that, yeah, it just shows that it was just another reminder that many people don't have a clue what they're speaking about.
No, they have no idea, especially also professional athletes, celebrities, models, professional athletes, all of them. It's not a question of who's taking it, all of them are taking it. They have to. They're paid for it. They're paid for their image. Fitness influencers, the not the ones who are, coaches and like educating as much, but it's more the ones that don't do anything and they're just famous for the way that they look, all of them are taking at least something. And I know that's a generalization. There are some that don't, but it's as a general rule, all of them are taking something. I know the coaches who coach them, who sell them these things. So, yeah, you're right. Nobody has a single clue what anybody's doing behind closed doors.
Mm. And if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, they're probably thinking right now, like saying, okay, Adam, I'm not saying you're wrong, or I'm not saying I don't believe you, but why would these people be doing that? And then either A, lying about it, saying they don't, or B, just like never being honest about it or bringing it up.
I don't think they need to. I think the important part is that they shouldn't say like, the ones that have lifetime natty in their bio or saying like I don't take anything and then they do. That's the problem. I don't think they need to say anything as long as they create their content and they're not trying to promote, you know, people looking exactly like them and perfect body and everything naturally, then I don't see a problem. I don't think anybody really owes anybody an explanation of their health status or a few months ago, Janelle, she was like a keto influencer. She's a RN on TikTok. She had there was a big there's lots of drama on TikTok because she revealed that she was on Ozempic, but I don't care about that. Like she wasn't saying you will look like me if you just buy my diet plan. She was just taking Ozempic for herself. So I don't necessarily believe that people need to disclose things like that. It's just obviously if you're misrepresenting yourself.
So I guess you kind of touched upon this already, about we can probably go into it a little bit more. In your opinion, and not speaking about like anyone individually here, just like generally speaking, in your opinion, when do you think, okay, man, then that's not cool. Like if you're going about it in that way.
Like if somebody's taking it and not telling people, or
Yeah, yeah. Like when would you say, oh, that's like okay, like because you said you generally don't care, and I would agree with that. But when would you say, that in that way, that's wrong. Like that's wrong to be doing that.
um. Someone like Alex Eubank, I think recently was like, yeah, okay, I'm on some stuff. I don't know if he really ever came out and said that he was natural anyway. So that kind of thing, it's a little borderline because he had young guys who were maybe 13 to 17 or 18 who were looking up to him and thinking delusionally, of course, that they could look like him. He's paid for it. He makes millions just from the way that he looks. So I think it's hard because you don't have control over your audience and who follows you. So on one side, it's not really his fault because he's also not their parent, and you don't really develop these skills until later on anyway, so those kids wouldn't have known. I guess I was always looking up to the guys in Men's Health and thinking there was a time where I was delusional and thinking I'm gonna look like Steve Cook if I just work out, you know, like it doesn't make any sense, but I think that's what everybody does. So I don't know. Honestly, I think it's really mostly the ones that are vocal about it and then are actually on tons of stuff.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And but I would say an example of someone who we just, already spoke about, and I think they were doing it in just the way that I thought was slimy was the Liver King, where he he basically made it sound like he looked the way he looked was because of his meat only diet. And then when this whole steroid thing came out, yeah, he was doing a lot of apologizing. And I think that's when his brand like massively dipped because of it came out that he was lying beforehand, basically, or
Yeah,
being intentionally
that's
misleading.
exactly. Well, that's another one though. I think you're just stupid if you believed that. Like he looks like an unnatural. His physique isn't even like desirable. Like I would never want to look like that. I don't know why anybody would think that he achieved that naturally anyway. So that's another one that I don't. I'm like, well, obviously. So it's someone
Hmm.
like that has like a borderline natural physique that I think would be more of a problem.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, you was there anything else you wanted to say about that before I kind of go on to the next point?
No, go for it.
So okay, I know that you primarily work with men. I was gonna say, like, what common I guess mistakes or misleading beliefs do you think a lot of guys make or come to you with when they're trying to, get in shape or lose body fat? Would you say it's maybe a lot of what we discussed already, or maybe other things?
I think it's unrealistic expectations, or just beginning with just a lot of it is just not having the knowledge or not being able to um, think critically about it because it's yourself. You see yourself every day. Also, they're lied to just as much as women are. But I've had, I think, almost everyone who comes to me and who knows a little bit about their measurements has done something in the gym or like in a clinic or something that they'll say, oh, I want to lose this much, and I think I'm about I don't know, 18% body fat, which obviously add 10% to that every single time, or 5 to 10%. They just really have no idea what the actual measurements are. So I think coming in with an unrealistic expectation or unrealistic ideas of what their body looks like is one of the biggest things because I've had guys who are 300 plus pounds saying that they eat 1,600 or less calories a day. And then I have them tracking properly and they're eating easily double or sometimes triple of that. So nutrition education is the biggest issue, I think, with our society now.
How do you unpack that with someone when they come to you and they're weighing over 300 pounds and they're like, I trust me, I'm eating 1,600 calories a day. Because I see this often too, but like just to the listener, like, how do you just be like, obviously, like in your head, immediately, like, no, you're not, but you don't want to be like, often, so some people might like that bluntness, but I don't know, like, how would you go about that conversation with someone who is insisting?
I tell them exactly that. I'm also not mean about it. So I speak to them that they're my friend because actually I want to be friends with them. I don't like the rigidity. I don't even know if that's a word. I don't like how it's rigid when you're working with a professional. Like if you go to a doctor's office, he's not going to be your friend. He's going to speak in a way that is professional and with professional language. I don't like that, especially when it's in a fitness setting. I like to just be chill and I think that people respond better when you're more of a friend. Obviously, I coach them when I need to, but I just say like that's impossible. Something's going on. You're either underestimating, like you're kind of eyeballing it, or you're just forgetting to track some things. It's perfectly fine. I do the same thing. Everybody does it. It's not you. You're not dumb. I just make sure that they know that I'm not saying like, oh, you're just a fucking liar. Like, you're doing this on purpose. I just make sure that they know that it's something common, that they're not the only ones, and we can fix it easily. Um, but yeah, I just tell them that's impossible. That's physiologically impossible that you're eating anywhere near what you think you are. So we're just going to take it one step at a time. We're just going to start tracking a couple days, one weekday, one weekend day. Don't change anything. I don't care if you end up eating 5,000 calories. I just need to know you're not going to be in trouble, So I just want them to know that it's just data, and they're not. I'm not going to make fun of them or make them feel bad.
Mm. And let's say these people they were like and this could very well be the listener as well, like these people that you're working with or you're just starting with, they've got, I don't know, juggling a very busy job, they've got a family, maybe two young kids that they're trying to raise. They want to make an effort with this fitness thing, but they're worried about the amount of time they think they have to dedicate just from years of skewed expectations. What would you say maybe is like a bare minimum type of week that could help them definitely make progress and is definitely going to be better than what they're doing before? But to many people, probably sounds like, is that it?
Yeah, I think this is something that's really annoying to me because nine to fivers is if you have like a true nine to five where it's you clock in, clock out, and you're done. How can you be tired at 5 p.m. when you've been at your desk all day? If you have a desk job, I don't understand because I also sit at my desk all day. But as entrepreneurs, there's always something that we can be doing. I often turn on a series, sit on my couch, and I'm just working for hours at 11 p.m. or later than that. So I think people have an unrealistic. It's just unrealistic to think that you don't have time when you have a nine to five. And yes, you may have kids, and I don't, but I work all the time because it's my own thing. I'm not working for someone else. So I think coming to the realization of how much time you actually have and how much time you're wasting is important. Obviously, I'm conscious of people having obligations and kids are all over the place. They have sports, they have after school extracurriculars, things like that. I don't know. I'm conscious of that, but I think it's important to be honest with yourself. Um, I actually don't remember the initial question. I think I'm just
No,
ranting.
no, you're definitely you're answering it, but I guess you forgot I guess the more specific part, which was like, what would
Oh,
you
right.
suggest as a bare minimum type of week that could definitely help move their health forward, which, yeah, like I said, maybe many people wouldn't recognize would be sufficient.
Right. So, again, yeah. So being honest with yourself about the amount of time that you have, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If you're currently not doing anything, 30 minutes twice a week is still an hour more than you were doing last week. So I would suggest 30 minutes. But you need to pack that 30 minutes. You can't be on your phone. You can't be taking just very minimal breaks. You should be, if you pack that 30 minutes, you should be drenched in sweat and like, you should feel like you worked out. I do that all the time. If I'm often running late and if I didn't get to the gym during the day, I just go to my apartment gym upstairs and I'll just go crazy for 30 minutes and I'm drenched and I'm panting. If you only have a limited amount of time, that's what you're gonna have to do. If you are honest with yourself and you're like, I can carve out an hour is all you need. So you wouldn't have to go as crazy in that case. You could have a normal workout. Obviously, try and do as much as you can, as heavy as you can with good form. And that's all you need to do 3 times a week and be consistent with that, be consistent with your diet. But if you can't even do that and it seems daunting, just work on your diet. That's all you need technically to lose fat. So if you just want to focus on nutrition and little by little get into the gym, or if you want to build a home gym, whatever you want to do, just focus on your calories and then go from there.
And what would you say that so I was going to say, and what would you say they should focus on when it comes to nutrition? But I guess you answered it right at the end. And I'm
Um,
assuming you mean tracking calories.
Yeah, exactly. So if even that, so some people are doing nothing because they're paralyzed. There's too much to think about, and then so they end up doing nothing. So even if tracking calories seems too complicated and too daunting, just focus on getting more protein. Don't change anything else. Be more mindful, I guess. So if you're reaching for that box of cookies, maybe just have one. If you go out every multiple times a week, maybe go out once or twice. Just try and be mindful of things while you're increasing your protein, because inherently you're going to be less hungry if you're increasing your protein, increasing your fiber, staying hydrated. Because a lot of people, I don't know how this is possible, but I've met multiple adults who don't drink water. They just don't drink all day, and I don't understand that. I drown myself in water every day. At the gym, I fill my shaker up at least 5 or 6 times. So um, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I meet a lot of adults as well who just don't drink water. Like, it blows my mind because of how easy it is to do. Um,
I don't understand. I
it,
feel like that episode of SpongeBob when I think he was in Sandy's like dome and he's drying out because he's a sponge. That's what I feel like when I don't have water for like
yeah,
an hour.
yeah, exactly. Same as me. So yeah, it just I find it. Yeah, I find it really interesting, especially because like it's like one of the most low barrier health habits that you can do most likely right now, and many people who are struggling with their health and fitness still won't do that, probably because they don't see it as sufficient. But it's things like that really do help and make a difference. And I think this brings up another point that I'm sure you've heard it many times as well, where people are like, "Oh, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it." And from your experience, would you say more often that these people genuinely do know what to do and they just aren't doing it? Or do you think there's like a misunderstanding of what they think they need to do?
It's hard. It's probably a mix of both because admittedly, I can be like this too. More so about business than I am about fitness because I actually that's not true. Fitness I can always do it. It is the nutrition. So everybody struggles with nutrition, even me who I study nutrition in university. I've been working in this industry, but I still struggle with it. I'll think about it before I eat something. I don't know, like if I have a box of cookies, that's the best example that I can have or that I can make because I do this. I love cookies. So if I have a box of cookies, I'll think for a second, don't bring that box of cookies onto the couch because you're just going to eat them all. But then there's another like that in that same second, I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to do it. So I understand that people they may know that they need to be more mindful, but in the moment they don't want to. And then later on, they're like, yeah, I know. Don't tell me again to portion things out. I know. They do know it. It's just I don't know if it's they don't believe that they can follow through with it because in the past they haven't and that they just historically know that they're not going to or they don't believe that they deserve it. All these things like end up being more psychological than I like to get into because I'm not qualified obviously, but um there's people who say, "Oh, if I wanted to, I could yeah, I could definitely get to be I don't know, this lean, 10% lean, whatever." I don't really believe that they know how to do that because otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation. But people know at least the basics. They just, yeah, they don't do them.
Yeah, I agree. I often think it's a thing of they just don't think I often think it's just that they don't believe it's really going to make enough of a difference, at least that choice in isolation for them to merit wanting to do it either. Uh, just yeah, that's a guess as well, but I do think so.
I think that's true because they don't really realize how it can snowball and how one good habit can lead to others, and you feel more motivated to like when you see a little bit of progress, you feel more motivated to continue with other habits. So I think that's important to get them to educate them a bit to get them to realize that that's what can happen.
So I think this brings up a really good other point is that, based on what I just said, what ends up happening is often the opposite, where people are like, okay, cutting down portion sizes like once in a while, like fuck that. That's just that's not going to do anything for me, is what they believe. So what they often end up doing, many people, is they will just go fucking extreme, like really extreme, cut out all carbohydrates, or I don't know, start at trying to exercise 7 days a week, an hour each time. Basically, like you name it, they're going to come out with the most extreme version of it and then like try and stick with that for as long as they can. And of course, it never lasts as much. But why do you feel like people just seem to keep going back to those types of extreme approaches, even though they couldn't stick with it more like before several times?
That's a good question. I think that's probably because that's the only way that they've seen any type of result. So when they've tried that more moderate approach, they don't see anything right away and then they give up. So they technically never saw any results. I have a friend like this who is always doing some kind of crazy something. Like last time I talked to him, I think he was not eating until the afternoon, and then he was not eating past 8. And I can't even reproduce like what this diet was because it just doesn't make sense. It's as if he just decided, okay, these are the things that I'm going to do. We'll see what happens. So it's always he just is the contact that I know is going to have something that I've never heard of because I think he just makes it up. But it never works. So that's a good rule of thumb when you hear someone say things like that is why are you doing it again? Like why are you why are you if it worked the first time or if it's the only way that you saw results, why are you still doing it? You know, like it's not that you've been consistently doing it because it's worked and you've reached the level that you're looking for. It's that you keep restarting over and over and over. You get the same results, but you're still not happy with the results and you're not able to continue those results. So why do you keep doing it?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It is a question I think a lot of people do have to ask themselves if they really want to move forward. And I think this kind of nicely takes us onto the next point that I had in mind was, I think I've seen your page and I know you've worked with guys who have lost a considerable amount of weight as well and managed to keep it off. So like, what would you say is the common theme for people who have ditched the aggressiveness and they found things, I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth, but they've lost 30 pounds and just managed to keep it off. Like, what are they doing typically?
Honestly, it's not interesting what I'm going to tell you. And it's I don't make content about it because it's not going to do well. But I had specifically I remember a guy, it was maybe 2 years ago, and he didn't actually a lot of my clients don't renew, which if you talk to a business coach, they're like, "Oh, that's a problem." It's not a problem for me because they got the result and they're able to obviously if they relapsed and were needed to lose weight again, they would probably come back to me, but they haven't. I've checked back in with them and they're still either the same or they've lost even more weight. So one guy specifically, he had a kid, and the kid liked to go to Disneyland. They're just Disneyland fanatics, so they would go a few times every couple of months, or actually sometimes I think it was like every month. And he was walking tons, but he was also eating all the Disneyland foods. So obviously that was not good, and he wasn't working out. He was a single dad, so he would just sit. He was a big drinker too. He cut all of that out, so he would still have his like one snack that he liked at Disneyland or a couple snacks, didn't go crazy, and then was continuing to walk tons at Disneyland, but also not just that one day that they went to Disneyland. He was doing it every single day and just learned to like walking. So he would listen to podcasts. He would take his work calls sometimes on the walk. So he was not really, I guess, wasting time, even though walking is not a waste of time, but it can be seen as just extra time that you don't have. But I have them, especially the busy guys, I have them pair activities that they would have already been doing while they walk. Obviously, you can't be doing that on a sales call that you need to take on your computer, but you can do it during, if you're talking to your family or something. If you're already going to do that, just walk if you can, or, sometimes I'll say answer your emails. You're doing it on your phone anyway, so just walk around while you're answering your emails. If you need to dictate, go ahead, but get those extra steps in because if you're able to increase your steps 5,000 a day just by doing the same tasks that you normally do, that's 35,000 potentially extra steps that you can add to your week. So that's really what he was doing. He was just walking a ton. He was in the gym, but I wouldn't say that that's what got him the results because it's not like he's had a massive uh like he did have a massive transformation. I think he lost like 60 or 70 pounds, but he didn't have like a massive physique transformation. He doesn't look like Alex Eubank right now. So like it's not really about the weightlifting program that he was doing. It was really just increasing his activity and being more mindful about what he was eating. He didn't really change much. He was still eating whatever he wanted, but and he cut out drinking completely. But I'm not an advocate for that either. You can still have a drink here and there, but he definitely just wanted to do it as a father. He said that he was, just drinking too much and just it was not a positive thing. So those are tons of calories that he got rid of there too.
I'm assuming he was based in the US.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure he's in Florida
Yeah, I was gonna say Florida most likely if he was at Disneyland a lot. Um,
or Disney
yeah, because
World. Is that
uh,
Disney World? I don't know,
I
actually.
don't know either.
One of
I
the
don't
Disney
know. I
places.
just know there's Disney something in Florida.
Exactly,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and the thing is, even for those in the US, like most people in the US, unless you like live in New York or Boston, maybe walking is not easy to really do anyway because life just isn't really set up for walking. It's set up to drive like everywhere. So yeah, that I find just like implementing a few thousand steps a day can already make a huge difference.
Definitely. And it's funny because here in Montreal, I haven't had, I mean, I know how to drive and I've driven recently, but I don't need to have a car here and I just walk everywhere. So the thought, I do have a lot of friends in New York, so they understand. But when I have friends in Austin or in, just other places in the US, and I tell them like, oh, it's not that far. I just walked and it's like a 30-minute walk. They're like, they just can't even fathom planning to commute by foot. So I when I'm back home in New Mexico, it's not a walkable place either, but I'll do that sometimes and I'm like, "Oh, I forgot this is I'm like walking on like partly highway. There's people looking at me like I'm crazy, like why I'm like walking with the homeless and I'm not careful either because here like the homeless are not they're harmless, so I don't even think about it, but yeah, people just look at me like I'm crazy when I'm walking in the US.
Yeah, that's one thing I really liked about Montreal as well. It's like just the walkability of it, which um I've been to a few places in the US now, and it's always nice when you can walk around. But yeah, when you get to one of the locations, which was me in Texas when I went to visit in like 2022, and I realized I genuinely cannot walk anywhere. Like, it's a bit, I don't know. For me, as someone who's just grown up in Europe, it's a very alien feeling to have that extreme dependency on having to drive everywhere.
I discover so much stuff when I'm just randomly walking around, like restaurants or
Same.
run into people. Like you come up on an event and you're just walking. That's what I tell people like you don't have to. Yes, you can. Like in the wintertime, I'm not gonna walk outside, but um, sorry, I was frozen a bit there for a second. I in the wintertime I'm not going to walk outside, but sometimes I will just like pace around my apartment or I'll go up the floors and like walk around the floor, go up the stairs, walk around another floor. So I'll do boring things like that. You don't have to do that. You can go to a nice part of the city or you can even go to the mall. I actually had a guy do he would walk through just the entire mall and then like I think it was actually it may have been someone in Montreal actually, because in Montreal there's an underground city too. So he would go through like the underground, go through the malls, go to the underground, go to another mall. So, just like if you like people watching, those kind of things are good, but just try and make it fun or else you're not going to do it. It seems like a daunting task.
Hmm. Yeah. Very much agree. Was there anything else you wanted to say before I move on?
No, go for it.
So I've got two more questions left, and you can spend as much or as little time answering these if you want, but they are questions I'm quite curious about. So I'd say like, what's one hot take you have in the health and fitness world nowadays that usually gets pushed back, but you stand by it anyway? If there is one, there might not be.
Um, yeah, I think that I have to be, I'm not going to mention the specific condition, I guess, because that's where the different crowds will come at you with pitchforks. But any condition that you have, almost let's say almost any condition that you have, you can still lose fat in this exact same way. It's just the approach can be different. So the mechanism by which everybody loses fat is a calorie deficit. Everybody knows that. Your condition does not change that. It may make it a little more difficult, or you might have to cut out certain types of foods because I don't know, maybe you overeat. That's likely the case. But no matter what diet, no matter what approach you take, it's all the same. It's all about calories and your energy expenditure. Obviously, different things that go into it, but calories will always be most important. And I'll always stand by that because it's shown in the data. We know that it's energy balance. So I don't know. I don't know how else to say it to these people because they'll say no, it's my thyroid, it's my PCOS, it's all these conditions, and then they'll turn around and explain what worked for them, and it's a calorie deficit, but they just don't realize that.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Okay, and the next question was if you could erase one trend from a modern culture right now, and it doesn't have to be fitness, this could be like literally anything, what would it be and why?
Modern culture. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to
just
be
today.
fitness. Okay. Um, Actually, I don't know if I would erase anything. I would add it back in, and that's critical thinking. I don't know what what happened about like a few years ago. Maybe it was COVID that Zoom Uni, all those kids who weren't in real school, I think that just messed with everyone's mind because in comment sections, you wouldn't believe the things that they're asking or saying, and it just blows my mind. Or like the a girl posted about she just called it whataboutism. So like you'll watch a video and tons of people will say, well, what about this? What about me? What about, and it's like, that's not what the video is about. So that's why I didn't
Hmm.
mention it. I guess
Yeah,
it's just, relying on AI and relying on social media to, to educate you. It can be a tool for education, but you really need to use your brain also. And that's something that I wish that more people were doing these days.
that's really hard for some people.
It's really hard. It's impossible for some people, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I agree though, especially with like the type of comments I do get on social media sometimes, and um now like since for example Threads like has really good organic reach I find, which is why I like to keep going back there. But
Threads?
sometimes I'm thread on Threads, yeah. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and yeah, it's got really good, and I'm trying to make the most. You can they're doing that because they're trying to grow the platform because it's still a young one. So yeah, they're trying to just get users on there, and it's really been not every single post, but definitely more often than the other ones. And
I've
I'm just
seen
trying to.
actually you've gotten some good engagement on yours. I don't use the platform actually. I have it automatically post to everything that is automatically posted to Threads. So I don't know. Maybe my stuff is doing good there. I don't even get on it. It also
Uh,
makes me mad every time I go on there because I end up like commenting on some stupidity, but and then go into a rabbit hole. But um, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to get on there and see what's going on.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's just because sometimes it's like sometimes I'll write a post and then there'll be someone who writes in the comments and tells me why they disagree with me and why I'm wrong, and then I'm just like. I didn't even say that. But yeah, that's it. Um, yeah, anyway, Adam, this was really fun. Was there anything else that
Yeah,
you
definitely.
wanted to say that we didn't touch on throughout the episode?
We touched on a lot of stuff actually. I tend to go off on tangents, so hopefully that was useful for the listeners.
No, that was fun. And I quite like the answer to the last question. I thought you were going to say like Labubus or something, but yeah, bring back critical
Oh,
thinking. Yeah, bring back critical thinking works as well.
yeah, the trends these days, I don't quite understand them, but I think that's what happens as we get older. Every generation says that about the younger ones. So I also don't want to say that because I don't want to be like the, like when you're like listening to your grandparents say, I don't understand this, these young people doing this. I don't want to be like that. So I just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. So where can people find you and stay in touch?
I am the Fit Adam on all platforms, mostly on Instagram and TikTok. Gonna start YouTube one of these days. I have it, but it's just my short form content. So those are the
Okay.
places you can find me.
I'll hyperlink your Instagram and TikTok in the show notes of this podcast episode. So if the listener
Perfect.
wants to
Thanks.
stay in touch, they can find you right there in an easy click. Adam, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate that. That was a
Thank you
fun
for having
chat.
me.
Time flew. And yeah, I'll see you around.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.